But Rachel, I mean, you hit on an important point. I think once the president realizes how ominous, sometimes he has like a 2-day delay, like the way I sometimes read my print newspapers. I mean, there's a 2-day delay to his reaction, and I don't want to sort of project any false sense of security about the probe. I think it's in as much jeopardy, and you see Democrats and Republicans on Capitol Hill trying to secure it. But can you just take us down the road of why it's so ominous? I mean, there's stuff in here about Felix Sater. There's stuff in here about the ties to Russia. There's stuff in here that we've long sort of hoped that Mueller would get his arms around. We now have evidence that his arms are very much wrapped tightly around a pretty sophisticated understanding of Trump Organization's attempted business dealings in Russia.
The problem here for the president is the plot that was just revealed in the Cohen documents. And what is revealed, if you just sort of step back from it, is that the president and his business were actively involved in negotiating probably the biggest business deal of Trump's life in Moscow, including direct negotiations with the Kremlin during the president's campaign, and they were lying about it at the time, and they have lied about it since, and they have engaged in a fairly elaborate effort to cover it up. And the time when they were secretly negotiating what would have probably been the biggest deal of his life with the Kremlin, at that same time, the Kremlin was intervening illegally in U.S. politics to help Trump win the election.
There's some dates in the document, too, that I'm sure sort of rang out to you. We had to do a little bit of research to find them. But the filing in the court case lists dates around the time that negotiations over Trump Tower Moscow ended. And it may be worth noting which dates Mueller chose to include in the filing today. There's always something intentional about what he adds. He writes, from on or about June 9th to June 14th, 2016, individual 2, who we believe to be Felix Sater, an intermediary between Trump and Russia, sent numerous messages to Cohen about the travel, including forms for Cohen to complete. However, on about June 14th, Cohen met individual 2 in the lobby of the company's headquarters to inform him that he wouldn't be traveling. Turns out June 9th and June 14th are dates all of your viewers know well. June 9th was the infamous Trump Tower meeting, and June 14th was the date we first learned that the DNC was hacked by the Russians. Do you think these are coincidences?
No. There's a reason those dates are in there, because this is, as Matt was explaining just a moment ago, these Mueller and his team don't speak publicly, but they do tend to speak through their public-facing documents. And so they are speaking to us through this document the way they have with everything else they filed in court. But it also shows us unequivocally that Mueller has evidence enough to bring a criminal charge related to it, that while Russia was actively intervening in our election to hurt Hillary Clinton and help Donald Trump, Trump was doing business with Russia, which meant specifically doing business with the Kremlin and lying about it. And that is the story. I mean, we don't know what other business there might have been. We don't know what other business negotiations may have been involved in this, but here's one that Mueller has apparently proved. To the extent that he's been able to obtain a criminal conviction in conjunction with it. And so the whole no collusion thing will have to be differently phrased from here on out. But this is about the president's behavior and the president's links to Russia and the president's financial links to Russia. And this is Mueller showing that that's what he's got.
And Rachel, it seems that if you just take June 9th, when they were talking about a trip to Russia, when they're talking about working with Vladimir Putin's name is in the document today, too. They're talking about working with the highest level of the Russian government on the same day that his son was in Trump Tower meeting with Russians in a meeting pitched as our government's effort to help you. Yeah. Sort of like cutting into a 7-layer cake and seeing what's inside. Do we now have the conspiracy sort of lined up on the axis of these specific dates?
Yes, we do. And we also have a sense of the literal criminal liability, not just the bad associations or evidence of bad behavior, but literal criminal liability of the president's immediate nuclear family, right? We have now seen for the first time somebody associated with this scandal charged for lying to Congress. We've had reporting from Vanity Fair first and other subsequent reporting indicating that the president's eldest son, Donald Trump Jr., is actively concerned about being prosecuted specifically for having lied to Congress about this incident. We know that this incident is now, through the timing unveiled in today's documents, materially related to a secret business transaction the president was pursuing with the Kremlin while he was publicly lying about it. And that was all at the same time that the Kremlin was intervening actively to help him. So this is all of a piece. And if you don't believe that the president has loyalty to anybody who works for him and he's willing to call anybody a rat, no matter how much they've helped him or worked with him in the past, I don't think anybody would say that he believes that about his eldest son or his daughter Ivanka or his son Eric. I think that to the extent that he and his immediate family members are now in danger of being nailed for felonies, I think that that should be understood as something that will unsettle the president, if not dramatically change the trajectory of how the White House reacts to this ongoing investigation.
And I think if they heard any of that, they may be sharpening their pardon pencils as we speak. Rachel, I know what you're usually doing right now. I'm so grateful that you spent some time with us. I can't wait to watch you tonight. Thank you.
Congratulations on your scoop.
Oh. Thank you.